Hello everyone, in this lesson we'll explore how to model curved surfaces using a combination of subdivision modeling and a tool called soft selection. I've already done a bit of work on this seat cushion, so if I select it, you'll see that I've adjusted some points and the symmetry modifier is still active. Now I want to preview how the form will look once it's completely smoothed. To do that, I'll add on an open subdiv modifier. So go to the modify list, type open right in here, and select Open Subdiv. Let's raise the iteration value to 2 for a higher level of smoothness. At this point, I can still go back and edit the base mesh, the editable poly at the bottom of the stack, and instantly see the smoothed result. Let's switch to Vertex Sub-Object mode. That's here. Enable Show End Result, and now I can grab vertices and reshape the object. Just like this. Zoom in, make sure you use the move tool, select it, and pull. When the vertex slightly is moved, you can see how it changes the curve across that part of the cushion. Let's undo that with Ctrl Z. Great. I could continue refining the shape this way, for example, by turning off edge faces with F4 to view it more clearly. Or by switching to Edge Sub-Object mode. Double click to select an edge loop and manipulate that loop to adjust the surface. Let's undo that too. So far, that's the standard way of editing, by directly selecting vertices or edges. But sometimes we want a smoother, more organic deforming. So one way that influences nearby points gradually is when we can use soft selection. That is a great tool we can bring in. Soft selection allows you to partially select an area around a point, creating smooth fall-off for more naturally shaping and less manual tweaking. It works on its own within editable poly, but it can also be combined with modifiers like symmetry and open subdiv, as we're doing here. So let's activate it. I'll enter Vertex Sub-Object mode. Select a vertex near the back seam of the cushion and move it. Let's do this one. Cool. Because Open Subdiv is active, the deformation looks soft. But if I turn Open Subdiv off, you'll see it's actually a hard move. Only one point is affected. Under that with Ctrl Z, and then Open Subdivision back on. Now let's try the soft selection method. In the Modify panel, let's scroll down to the rollout, right here, under Editable Poly, and go back to that sub-selection. Cool, with vertices selected, we'll be able to see the soft selection here. Awesome. You notice that the vertex colors change once it's ticked on. Awesome. So, the warmer ones, red or yellow areas are strongly selected, while cooler blue ones are less affected. This gradient is determined by distance fall off. We can actually adjust that fall off value, drag the spinner to reduce it, and notice how the influence area shrinks. You can see that here. The red vertex is fully selected, while the surrounding ones are only partially affected depending on proximity. Now, it's important to notice that the move gizmo also shifts to the average center of the soft selection, which can feel a bit awkward since it's not directly on the vertex you picked. That's just how soft selection behaves, but it still works perfectly fine. Cool. So now that we understand that, let's see how this really works. So now, with the move tool, when I move that point, we get a gentle smooth deformation across the surrounding area. A lot less harsh. Let's Ctrl Z that. Now below fall-off, you'll find two additional parameters, pinch and bubble. You can see their influence visualized in the curve graph. Right here. Increasing pinch increases a steeper fall-off, so moving the point produces a sharper deformation. Undo that and reset pitch to 0. Cool. Now raising a bubble, on the other hand, creates a rounded bulge effect. If I increase it to above 1, it even creates a subtle dip or depression in the center. Let's play around with that so we can see. Yep, that's reducing it to 1. You can see it better on the graph. There we go. So a kind of puffed cushion-like look. Let's undo that. Awesome. Set that back. Now, you can also select soft selection directly from the ribbon. I'll turn it off in the modify panel for now. On the ribbon, look for the icon that resembles a color wheel or rainbow circle. That's this. That's a soft selection toggle. Enable it and a small toolbar appears with key controls. Cool. The main one is simply turning soft selection on or off. In this control area, there's also a viewport control for fall-off distance. That's located, that one is located here. It's the pencil icon to the very left. Cool. So we want to click that pencil icon. Have that selected. Awesome. And so your cursor will change to a concentric circles, if you can see. Let me just do that one again. Perfect. There we go. So now you can click and drag in the viewport to adjust fall-off interactively. Awesome. Let me just play around with that. That's selected. And if you look in the other views, you'll be able to see those colors change in the vertices. Perfect. So we want to Control Z that one. This edit tool also lets you control pinch and bubble values directly in the viewport. So click again, you can see it switched the cursor between different modes. So when the cursor shows concentric rings, you get that fall off. And then click on your object once, and now you're editing pinch, you can see. So let's try that again, click it again, pinch, and that one's bubble. Cool. So that is just another way to use the ribbon to use pinch and bubble and fall off. Awesome, once we're happy with that, let's just exit out of that. So one important thing to remember is when you move points with soft selection, you're changing the distance between them, which affects the fall off region, meaning you can't perfectly reverse a transformation by moving it back. So even if the vertex returns to its original position, the geometry may be slightly warped. Let's kind of illustrate that. See, as I move that up, and then I want to move that back down, even though they appear to return to the same place, the shape doesn't go back to what it was originally before. This is where modeling can get a bit messy with soft selection. So, if you need to repeat transformations on the same selection without changing the influence area, we're going to enable lock soft selection. So if we scroll down, we can find that one. So you can find that option as a checkbox in the modify panel right here. So with soft selection enabled, the fall off zone remains constant, so you can move points up, down, or around without altering the selection influence. The shape will now deform consistently and predictably. So this is a great tool. Let's try this one out. If we want to use it, we just have to simply check that box on. But first, let me just Control Z to get back to our original cushion. Yep, okay, let's try this one out. Turn that one on. And so now with that, we can move it up. And then if we want to move it again, click out of frame and then click back. And then let's just move that one back down. Perfect. So it has that exact same distortion because we have that locked. So the fall off doesn't alter. Awesome. So that's how to work with soft selection, both from the modify panel and directly from the ribbon. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. I'll see you in the next one.